Hey guys, I just wanted to take a few minutes to introduce our book that we're going to be reading over the course of the next 4 weeks. The book that we're going to be reading, I've mentioned it a couple of times, and maybe you have gotten your own copy. This is my copy, and it is called Because of Mr. Terapt, and it is by Rob Buyea. Down here at the bottom is his name. I love this book. I hope that you love it as much as I do, and when you're finished, we're going to have lots of great discussions about it to see if you did. So this book is different. It's kind of remind you of when we read The Lemonade War. In The Lemonade War, Evan and Jesse, we got to alternate chapters between the two of them. And the two of them went back and forth, and we heard their perspective and point of view about what was happening in the story. So in this book, it's actually going to have 7 different students, and we're going to hear each of their points of view of what's happening in the story. If you take a look at the back, we don't have a very long summary here. In fact, we don't really have a summary at all. It doesn't give much away, but we do know this. There are 7 kids, and there is 1 class, and they have one amazing teacher, and the school year that changes their lives. Something else you're going to pick up on pretty quickly as you're reading the book is that, or I want you to look for it, one of the two, is the fact that it's told in past tense. So it's like the kids went back and told the story after it had already happened, rather than while it's happening. So something else that's kind of different about this book is the fact that it is broken up into sections. So typically in our book, we have chapter 1, chapter 2, etc. This book is actually broken up into sections based on the school year. There's also 2 parts. So there's a part 1 and there's a part 2. I don't remember if there's part 3 or not, but I know there's 1 and 2, of course. But in addition to them being broken up into parts like that, you're also going to have it broken up like this into sections in September, October, November, all the way through the school year, because this obviously follows a class and their teacher. And then in each of the sections, you're going to have different characters. So for example, this particular section in September is told by Peter, and you'll turn a couple of pages and you're going to see it's told by Jessica. You're also going to notice that the font changes for each of the title or the names of the students. The next student that speaks is Luke. Then your 4th student is Alexia. Your 5th student is Jeffrey. You have Danielle. And our last student will be Anna. Mr. Terapt, the teacher, actually does not have his own speaking chapter. So what we know about him, we learn through the eyes of the students and how they feel about him and how he does things. And then they react in their own ways to it. Mr. Terapt is a very unique teacher. He does a lot of really fun projects, 2 of which will be assigned to you this week so that you can participate in. One of them is the dollar word project, and it will actually go throughout the entire book. And in fact, the person that ends up at the end with the most dollar words gets a gift card from me from your favorite place. So maybe that will inspire you to want to do the dollar words. It's really fun, and I think once you read about it, you'll see it's something you want to participate in. There's another project that he gives to them. It's called Blades of Grass. And as you read the book and you see that project this week, it might be something you want to try. It can be really fun. So while we're reading the book, it's a little different because we're not together in class. And so you and I both know that we have lots and lots of great conversation when we read a novel together, whether that be a read aloud like Matilda or The Indian in the Cupboard, or it could be like when we did a book together in the class, like a book club, when we did The Lemonade War and we did The Family Under the Bridge. And of course, we can't forget The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. So we have great conversations about those texts while we read them. But because we're not together, we can't do that in exactly the same way. I am going to offer that over the course of the next couple of weeks on some of our meets on Tuesdays and Thursdays. We'll have some book discussions because I know that some of you are going to be really wanting to talk about the book, including myself, because I'm rereading it again. Remember, we talked about the great power of rereading and that it can be very beneficial. And in fact, when I was talking to Miss Mangrum about the book the other day, I said, it's really cool to go back and read it again now that you know more. The more you know, the more you see as you start to read the book. So one of the things I want to kind of point out to you guys is because it's broken down into 7 characters talking, sometimes it can get kind of confusing as to which character did what and with who. So one of the things I want to suggest is that you may want to take some notes. Now, you're going to have an assignment to go with each section that will have you answer a couple of questions about what was happening. But I think if you actually will take some notes while you're reading, you're going to find that that will help you not only on the questions, but it's just going to help you in our discussions to keep yourself organized. So I have some paper that I'm going to use. And then we all know Miss Scruggs loves her gel pens or flare pens. Today I've got my gel pens out. And so I'm going to color code the students in the text so that each time one of the different ones are talking, then I can write in their color. You don't have to do that. You can simply use a pencil. And if you want to try to copy the font from the chapter, you could do that. Or if you don't want to do any of that, but you just want to write their name, that's fine. So I'm going to start. And I'm going to grab my pen and I'm just going to, at the top of my paper, I'm going to write September. If you have your reading notebook and you want to put this in your reading notebook, you could. But otherwise, you're just going to put it on your piece of paper like this. And then I'm going to go to the book. And I think if you remember, as I was going through it, our first student in the book that's going to talk is Peter. Okay? So I'm going to make Peter blue. And I'm going to put Peter's name right here on my paper so that as I'm reading about Peter, all right, so here's Peter. As I'm reading about Peter, I'm going to take a few notes about him. I don't have to write in complete sentences. It doesn't have to be spelled exactly right because nobody's going to be using these notes but you. But I do think that you're going to find that it's beneficial when you start answering questions to have these notes, and it's going to be really great as we're talking, okay? So as I'm reading about Peter, I might notice what kind of a character is Peter. What kind of character traits does he have? Is he loyal? Is he honest? Is he funny? Is he silly? What does he do that makes him unique? I also might think about something I learned about Peter. Is there something in his life going on that might affect the story? So I can write those notes down as well. And then the next character in our book is Jessica. And I'm going to use my pink for Jessica. I wrote her name down. And again, all I have to do is make some little bullets and some little notes about Jessica and the type of character she is. What do I learn about her? What makes her unique, etc. Miss Scruggs is using her own copy of her book. So if you're using your own copy of your book and you want to highlight things in your book as you read them, that would be great. You're welcome to do that. The older you get, the more your teacher is going to expect you to do things like that. You might have noticed that I have a lot of sticky notes out to the side. These are things that I would like to talk to you guys about when we have our meet about the things that you've read in the book. So I wanted to make sure I didn't forget anything, so I jotted them down on little sticky notes in order to be able to go back and talk about those things. You can do it however it works for you. You can highlight, you can write in your book when it's your own copy. Feel free to make little notes over in the margin. Or if you prefer, you can get the paper like I did here and you can color code, not color code. There's no right or wrong way to do this, guys. You are just simply going to be doing what you think is best to help you with reading this book. I know some of you have already finished the book, and so you may find that you'd like to reread it again with Miss Scruggs and listen to my read alouds. Or you may just find that you just need to go through and do the questions that they give you. So whatever works for you guys. But I'm excited about this book. I think you're going to love it. You are going to find that the connection that these students have with with their teacher is really awesome. I know I've done this book now. This is only the second year I've done this book, but the kids in my class last year, we felt like we had this connection. And you guys are such an awesome group of kids. I'm missing you every day. And so this is a really great opportunity for us to get to connect. You get to hear my voice, and we get to chat about the book afterwards. And I think you're going to find that it's a great read and you're going to enjoy it. So I'm excited. I hope you're excited. So now that you've watched this video, you're going to be pulling up the video that says September, and it'll say September, Mr. Interrupt, read aloud. And just listen and follow along. If you have your own copy, you can do that. If not, Ms. Scruggs has videoed the paper so that you can actually see the words. And if you're taking notes and things, you may want to pause along the way and write your notes down, or you may want to come back at the end and go and put your things down. You just have to do whatever works for you. So get excited, get yourself a blanket, get yourself something to write with, and get started to listening to Because of Mr. Interrupt. I'm excited. Yay!